Hi, boys and girls. How are you today? What in the world is Miss Kathy doing today? Do you ever get scared of masks when you can't see the person hiding behind the mask? Masks are scary things, aren't they? Because you can't see the person. Now, you know it's Miss Kathy back here, don't you? You can see me smiling at you. But what about masks that cover up most of our face like this? Is that scary to you? That's a little scary to Miss Kathy too, because you can't see whether the person's smiling. You can't even see the person behind there. And when we go to stores now, a lot of people have masks on their face, don't they? You might even have to wear a mask on your face. Is that scary? Does that make you afraid? Sometimes it makes Miss Kathy afraid when I can't see who's behind that mask. And you know what? We're going to talk for the next few days about being afraid. Afraid. And we're going to learn a new sign. Afraid. Take your fingers, scrunch them all together like that. Do you see how they're all scrunched together? Okay, now make them facing each other like they're talking to each other. And afraid. 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 What makes you afraid? Can Miss Kathy tell you what makes Miss Kathy afraid? You promise you won't think it's silly? Okay, if you promise, I'll show you. I brought some with me today. They're hiding because they know Miss Kathy is afraid of them. Do you see what's hiding in my picture? What is hiding that makes Miss Kathy afraid? Spiders. Oh, don't laugh at me. Don't think I'm silly. I'm afraid of spiders. I don't like them at all, so they're hiding so they don't scare me. Should we count how many we have? But you have to find them because Miss Kathy's afraid. Okay, so you find them and then I'll grab them out of there, okay? Do you see one? Let's see if we can see one that, whoa! Should I touch it? There's one spider. Can you find another one? Let's see. I'll point and you yell when you see one. We'll start way down here low. What? Here? You see his little legs sticking out? Okay. So how many did we find now? We have one, two. Okay, I'll keep going. You keep looking. Ah! Did you yell? Yell real loud. Like give me a real big scream. Okay. So there's another one. So how many spiders do we have now? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm going to keep going, all right? I'm going to go up this big tree. I'm going to come down the other side. Are there legs sticking out of that tree? Let's see if there's one back there. Ah, there's another one. Okay, let's take him out. Oh, let's put him up on top here so we can see him. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's keep going. Let's go across here. Okay, we're going to go across the little lake. Stop. Go back. Oh! Wow, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, should I stay around the lake a little bit? You see another one near the lake? Are you sure? Where? On the bottom. How that. That's really good. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spiders. All right, where should we go next? Should we go up here with the flowers, with the pink flowers? Okay, let's go up here. Let's go up here. Oh, he's peeking at me. I see him. Do you see him? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's keep around the flowers. Any up here? Any up on the top? How about that? Woo! Get him out of there. Get out of there. Okay, how many do we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You think we're going to find any more? Let's go over to the last set of flowers over here. Let's move this over so you can see. Okay, let's start up here at the top. Tell me when you see any. Ah! I see 1, 2, 3, 4 legs sticking out. Get him out of there. Come on, get out of the flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we have them all. Do we have them all? You good with that? I think we got them all. What? You see one more? I don't see any more. Do you see one more? Where is it? Which flowers? The white ones? Over here? Oh, whoa, how did you see him? He's only got one teeny leg sticking out. Whoa, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spiders. Well, Miss Kathy's going to tell you a story today about a little boy named Johnny. Now, Johnny wasn't afraid of spiders like Miss Kathy. He wasn't afraid of bugs at all. He was a big 6-year-old, and he wasn't afraid of stuff like that. He wasn't afraid of snakes. He wasn't afraid of animals or dogs that barked loudly. He wasn't even afraid if he got into a fight, because he was pretty strong and pretty brave. But there was one thing that Johnny was afraid of. He was afraid of the dark. He did not like it when it got dark. Now, he didn't mind if he was outside and it was dark. There would be some lights on the street and some lights on the house. That didn't bother him at all, as long as there was a little bit of light. But he hated bedtime, because he hated going up in his bedroom when it was dark. And he would do anything he could to keep from going to bed. He would take his time cleaning up his toys. He would take his time putting his stuff away. He would take his time getting his pajamas on. He just would take his time. And his mommy would keep saying, Johnny, 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 you got to get ready for bed. Then it was time for bed. And of course, he had to take his time going up the steps, because like he told his mommy, he had to count how many steps there were. 1, 2, 3. Johnny, you know how many steps there are. Yeah, but I forget, so I have to keep counting them every time. Now I'd start all over again, Mommy. Go back down. 1, 2. Oh. And by the time he got to bed, like his mommy was ready for him to go to bed. And of course, he would have to come back downstairs and get a drink of water, because the water upstairs was icky and he had to get the water from downstairs. But what he was really afraid of was going to bed. Well, finally, he would get in his room and he would kneel down beside his bed, and he only knew one prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep if I should die. That's kind of scary. If I should die? And it's dark in here? And he just couldn't finish. He couldn't finish the prayer. He would just get up. And now this is what Johnny would do every night in the summer. He'd go over, open his window a little bit. Then he'd go over, turn his lamp off, because Mommy said turn the lights off at night. So he'd turn his lamp off, He'd go over to the door. He'd close the door. Now, when he closed the door, it got really dark in his room. And he knew how many steps it was, how many running steps it was between the door and his bed. And he would run, jump on the bed, and pull the blankets up over his head. He did not want to see what was in that room at night. And that went on every night when Johnny would go to bed. Well, when school was done for the year, he got to go out to his grandpa and grandma's for a night. Now, grandpa and grandma, it's kind of like Charlie. Remember Charlie's grandpa and grandma? Well, Johnny's grandpa and grandma also lived on a farm way out in the country. And Johnny loved it. They had so many little kittens in the barn. He loved playing with the kittens. He loved feeding the dog. He even liked riding the horse. Like I said, he was not afraid of animals. He would ride the horse. He'd take care of the pigs. Didn't care. Loved that kind of stuff. He would even go down in the cellar. And the cellar was a little bit dark, but he would go down in the cellar and get some of Grandma's canned stuff when she wanted to make stuff for dinner. And he would help Grandma out in the kitchen as much as he could. But his favorite thing was feeding those little chicks. Remember the sign for chicken? He loved, I don't like those spiders. He loved feeding the chickens. That was so much fun. But you know what? It gets dark on the farm just like it gets dark in town. Only on a farm, it gets even darker because you don't have a lot of lights outside. It gets really dark. So when it was time to go to bed, he knelt down and got ready to do his "Now I lay me down to sleep" prayer. Well, Grandma came in, and Grandma opened her Bible and said, "Johnny, can I pray with you tonight?" And he thought that was really cool that Grandma wanted to pray with him. And she said, "Johnny, I want to read you a verse. Did you know the Bible says the darkness and the light are both alike to thee?" Do you know what, Johnny? God can see just as well in the dark as he can see in the light. Because he's God, and it doesn't matter if it's dark or light. He can still see us. And Johnny was wondering, does Grandma know that I'm afraid of the dark? Grandma said, "Johnny, do you know that Jesus died on the cross?" "Yes, ma'am, I do." "Do you know that was God's plan?" That was God's plan for Jesus to be treated so mean and beat and hurt and put on that cross to die. That was God's plan? "Yes, it was, Johnny. Because all of us do bad things, don't you think?" And Johnny thought about it. He goes, "Yeah, I've told lies and I've disobeyed my mommy and I've cheated on some tests. Yeah, we all do bad things." Well, bad things can't get into heaven. And Johnny was so sad. Well, how can I get there if I do bad things? And Grandma said, "That's why Jesus died, Johnny. He died to take all those sins and pay for all those sins because sin can't get into heaven. And all you have to do is ask Jesus to save you, to forgive you of all your sins. And he takes all that darkness of sin away. And heaven's a beautiful place, Johnny, and it won't be ever dark in heaven. It'll be lit up by Jesus, God's Son." Have you ever done that, Johnny? And Johnny thought about it. And he had heard about Jesus because he goes to church on Sunday, but he had never asked Jesus to save him. And he knelt down that night near his bed, and the best he could, he asked Jesus to forgive him of all the bad he did. He asked Jesus to forgive him for being afraid all the time. And he asked Jesus to come into his heart and save him. And then Grandma prayed. And Grandma said, "Thank you, Jesus, for dying for us. Please help Johnny know that you take care of him. That you can take care of him when it's dark. You can take care of him when it's light. You can take care of him all the time because he's your child now. And he's in your hands, and you will never give him any reason to be afraid because you can take care of him. Grandma was such a good lady. And she said, Johnny, I'm going to teach you a little song that I used to sing when I was a little girl, because sometimes I would be afraid of the dark too. And it goes like this, and I used to sing it to myself a lot. I'll never, never be afraid, for God is watching over me. And night is just like day to him, so I'll never be afraid. Can you sing that, Johnny, with me? And he said, oh, Grandma, I don't sing very well. And Grandma said, oh, just try it. Just try it with me. Ready? I'll never, never be afraid, for God is watching over me. And night is just like day to him, so I'll never be afraid. Johnny went to bed that night, and it was dark. Grandma turned the lights out, and he didn't have his blanket up over his head, because in his heart he was thinking, you know what? God can see me in the dark just as much as he can see me in the day. And I never, ever have to be afraid, because God is taking care of me, and he's watching over me, even in the dark. And Johnny learned not to be afraid. Let's sing that song together. We all get afraid sometimes. Big people, little people, grandmas and grandpas, policemen, firemen. We all feel afraid a little bit in our hearts. But when we know Jesus, and when we know Jesus is in our heart, we know that he can take care of us. It doesn't matter where we are. Let's sing this together. I'll never, never be afraid, for God is watching over me. And night is just like day to him, so I'll never be afraid. I'll never, never be afraid, for God is watching over me. And night is just like day to him, so I'll never be afraid. Now we have to learn a new Bible verse. This isn't a Bible verse, it's just a song. And we're going to learn a verse from, okay, now this is tough, because you see the p, 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 and you want to say p, s, ah. You don't hear the letter P. You know how sometimes we have a quiet E at the end? Well, this is a quiet P at the beginning, okay? So we don't hear that letter. Psalm. Psalm. Remember, we don't hear the P. Psalm. And this is tough too, because it's two numbers together. It's a 5 together and a 6 together. And that's a big number for little boys and girls. That number is 56. Can you say that? 56. Try it again. 56, 3. Good job. Psalm, remember you don't hear that. Psalm 56, 3. And it's a very short verse, so we get to sing it twice. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. Psalm 56, 3. Listen to it again. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. Psalm 56:3. Let's try the sign first. Remember, fingers all go together. And they're facing each other like they're talking. And make your face look a little bit afraid. Don't go, okay, look, like you're afraid. Like something scared you. Like the spider scared Miss Kathy. Or maybe a mask scared you. Okay, so make a scared face. Okay, ready? What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. Psalm 56:3. So if I go in a store and I get scared, what am I going to sing to myself? What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. Psalm 56:3. What do you do if you have to go to the nursery at church and you're scared because your mommy's gone and you don't know when she's coming back? What should you say to yourself? What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. Psalm 56:3. What should you sing when you go to bed at night and mommy turns the lights out and mommy goes downstairs and you're scared? Because you think you're all alone in that room, and you're not all alone because God is watching over you. What should you say to yourself? What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. Psalm 56:3. Boys and girls, if you hide that verse in your heart, next time you're afraid, you can use it and God will help you be very brave. We'll see you in another day, boys and girls. I love you. Remember, we have no reason to be afraid because God is with us. I love you.